Welcome to the T-Pac Arcade. Today's game is Super Bomberman for the Nintendo Super Famicom. In this 1993 action puzzler from Hudson Soft, a mad scientist made a bad guy Bomberman to take over the world or something, so it's up to good guy Bomberman to stop him, or something. Super Bomberman has 6 areas, each broken up into 7 sublevels and a boss fight. The sublevels are single-screen layouts where you need to destroy all enemies and find the exit hidden behind a block. And with a name like Bomberman, it only makes sense that you do this by bombing pretty much everything. Except yourself, hopefully. See, Bomberman is his own worst enemy sometimes. When you set a bomb, it detonates outward in the 4 cardinal directions, and it's surprisingly easy to trap yourself with just a bit of poor placement. Getting killed by an enemy is bad enough, but accidentally offing yourself is just plain brutal. There are some power-ups that can help you out of those sticky situations though, like temporary shields or the ability to walk through blocks. And bomb upgrades can give you a larger blast radius, multiple simultaneous drops, and the almighty manual explosion, which allows you to choose when to detonate your bombs instead of trying to plan around the automatic timer. This comes in really handy for certain enemies, like the one-eyed chomper guys who gobble up all your explosives if you don't space your drops just right. It can also help you clear a level faster if you're running low on the stage timer. The standard enemies all have different behavior, like potato guys who dig underground, beetle tanks that charge you, coins with faces that move through blocks, and even these green tower things that try to burn you alive with flamethrowers. That seems a little harsh for a cutesy action puzzler. Granted, I'm out here trying to incinerate everything with an endless supply of lethal explosives, but that's beside the point. The bosses can be pretty aggressive too. They generally float around the screen, attacking you with projectiles, hammers, or even explosives of their own. And Stage 5 is made up entirely of one-on-one bombing matches against a troop of the aforementioned bad guy Bombermen. I wonder if bomber ladies would have better manners than to run around blowing everything to bits. Speaking of which, there's a dedicated battle mode in Super Bomberman, so you're more than welcome to test that quandary by inviting some ladies over for a match. Not me though. For some reason, the more I talk about old video games, the less bomber ladies seem interested in hanging out with me. Can't imagine why. Anyway, the visuals and sound in this game are lots of fun, and they have a distinct cutesy charm like I mentioned earlier. Except for that giant clown head boss. That thing was terrifying. I should also mention that this game feels like it needs some kind of photosensitivity warning at times. A lot of the stages are peak 16-bit sensory overload, as if the art direction pitch was basically just make everything bright, patterned, and constantly spinning. That's not to say I dislike the graphics. My favorite part of the game would have to be the character design. Everything from the mecha spider boss, to the rotating teacup dudes, to those adorable little UFOs in Stage 4. The only thing I'd change in Super Bomberman is the mechanics of the final boss fight against the evil scientist and, magician? I don't know. He's got a top hat. Must be a magician. I couldn't figure out how to actually damage them in their aircraft until I started randomly hammering buttons and realized you need to punch bombs at them with the left trigger. Not only does this ability need a specific power-up that isn't exactly highlighted or even abundant in the final stage, but that mechanic isn't even required at any other point in the game. The whole idea is just a bit obtuse. Obtuse, but not difficult. I was pleasantly surprised to find that Super Bomberman isn't actually a hard game. It even provides a bit of a novelty for the series, with a period of invincibility at the start of each level to balance out any unintuitively generated layouts or enemy placements. I even learned to exploit this by just bombing everything with reckless abandon until the shields wore off. For once in my life, I felt like I was good at a video game. That is until I tried out the single-player battle mode, where all the computer opponents constantly outsmarted me, even on their dumbest skill settings. I managed to win at least once for each of the 12 arenas, but I'd wager that 80 to 90% of those victories were from hiding in the corner and hoping the 3 computer bombers would just detonate each other without noticing me. Just like my approach to contact sports in high school gym class. Overall, Super Bomberman was a blast. Get it? Blast. Cause bombs? Okay, I'll shut up now.